All right, for our action plan number 4, me and my group did Asperger's. That was the student population that we focused on. Asperger's is a really cool syndrome. It's not really a disease. It's considered a mental disorder. In some aspects, it can really be an advantage. The deal with Asperger's is that your brain is wired in such a way that you focus in on a few things that you're really good at, really knowledgeable at. Whether that there's examples of surfers, guys who, or I shouldn't say guys, people who have just an enormous amount of knowledge in a certain focused area, like cars, airplanes, baseball stats, cookie recipes, anything. And it's really cool because in those areas, it's definitely a positive factor. Where Asperger's, or those with Asperger's, get in trouble is in social situations. They have a difficult time reading facial expressions, reading emotions, and therefore they can struggle in social situations. Something you can do to help make those with Asperger's feel comfortable in your classroom, some culturally relevant teaching techniques. You can provide some extra opportunities for that student to reach academic success. And maybe if you're doing presentations, maybe have a one-on-one presentation, or just say, hey, you can just write a paper. Don't force them to do things that they're completely uncomfortable doing. You have to push them to help them improve, but you don't want to set them up for failure. Another thing is talk to the students, find out what they're interested in, and don't, when you're talking to them, and if they don't necessarily they might come off as rude. Don't pick up on social cues. Don't hold that against them. It's not that they're trying to be a jerk. It's not they're trying to be rude. It's just that they have a difficult time picking up on social cues. So just work with them, talk to them, find out what they like. Once you find out what they like, incorporate that into your teaching. For example, if the kid really likes football, you can use football analogies to explain big concepts. You can tell football-related stories to keep that particular child interested. There's lots of things you can do once you find out what their interests are, that you can help them stay interested and stay focused and succeed in your classroom. Another thing is you can challenge them to break the mold that society has set for them. Just because they have Asperger's and they have this label doesn't mean they have to necessarily adhere to those labels. You can work with them. Now, granted, they might not naturally be able to pick up on emotions, facial expressions, those kind of things, but you can work with them and say, hey, when somebody makes this face, that means they're mad, or if they smile, their mouth turns up, that means they're happy. Those sort of things that you can help work with them so that they have the tools to succeed in social situations. Another thing you can do, encourage the Asperger's students to work with kids in the general classroom, and vice versa. Make a point to be inclusive, but you don't want to make them stand out. Treat them fairly. Just be understanding of their differences. I really enjoyed doing the research on this. I just find Asperger's fascinating, and so yeah. It would be really exciting for me if I was able to work with someone with Asperger's in the future, because I think it's so cool the way they're wired, and there's so much you can learn from the way that they see the world, and it gives you just a totally different perspective that can help you down the road dealing with all sorts of different kinds of students.